Hello, and welcome to Psychology Demystified. Today we're going to be exploring something, and this exploration is about you. The question you're going to be asking yourself today is, are you empathic? Like really empathic? You might consider yourself someone who's very empathic. When someone's hurt, you feel it. When someone's sad, you feel it. When things are happening in someone's life, you experience them along with them. So you might consider yourself very empathic. Even though you care about others, empathy is a lot more than just caring about others. Research has actually revealed that there are 3 types of empathy. So with that said, let's find out which type you possess. In order for you to be able to find out, you will need a paper, you will need a pencil, because you will be doing a mini self-quiz. On a piece of paper, you're going to answer the questions I ask with a scale from 1 to 5. A 1 simply means this does not describe me well at all. And a 5 means right on the money, describes me very, very well. So it's pretty much giving yourself a sliding scale, but you cannot have an in-between. You can't say I'm in between a 2 and a 3. You're either smack on a 2 or smack on a 3. And that's it. There's no half-half teetering on the edge. Okay, so here come the questions. Number 1, I sometimes try to understand my friends better by imagining how things look from their perspective. Rate yourself from 1 to 5. A 1 does not describe me well at all, and a 5 describes me very well. No in-betweens. Number 2, before criticizing somebody, I try to imagine how I would feel if I were in their shoes or in their place. 1 to 5. 1 does not describe me well at all. 5 describes me very well. Number 3, when I am upset with someone, I usually try to put myself in their shoes for a while. You try to see things from their angle, just for a little bit. Number 4, in emergency situations, I feel like I am not calm, I am ill at ease, and I'm apprehensive and anxious. Number 5, when I see someone who badly needs help in an emergency, I go to pieces, as in I can't function. I don't know what to do. I'm confused. Number 6, I sometimes feel helpless when I am in the middle of an emotional situation. 1 does not describe me well at all. 5 describes me very well. And then of course they're the in-between numbers. And remember, solidly in one space. Number 7, when someone is upset or angry, I find that I also get upset or angry as well. Number 8, I often, depending on how you say it, have tender, concerned feelings for people who are less fortunate than me. People who are doing less well. Number 9, I would describe myself as a pretty soft-hearted person. Number 10, I am often quite touched by the things I see. Time to score yourself on the types of empathy scale. If you scored highly in number 1 to 3 that I mentioned, this is called a rational form of empathy. What this means is that it's sometimes described as cognitive empathy or perspective taking. High scores in number 1 to 3 that I mentioned pretty much mean that you are good at seeing things from other people's perspectives. But it's more of a cognitive or intellectual form of empathy, where you can see someone's pain. And the reason why you can see someone's pain is because you intellectualize it. And that means that you can actually put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to see yourself in their situation. So this is a kind of a cognitive, very rational form of empathy. You're the kind of person who can say, I see your pain. But then you're also not the kind of person that someone who's emotionally distressed might come to, because you can see it. You can see their pain and you can see what they're going through because you kind of intellectualized it and put yourself in their shoes, but you don't feel it the way they want you to feel their pain. So it's an important characteristic, but then someone who is emotionally distressed may not come to you because you're not providing the kind of empathy that they seek. The next kind of empathy, if you scored highly in items 4 to 7 that I mentioned, then you have a different kind of empathy. And this kind of empathy is called the emotionally vulnerable kind of empathy. You are the kind of empath who says, I feel your pain. Because you don't see it like the previous person. This one you actually feel because you put yourself fully into the other person's shoes. If you are this kind of person who experiences emotional vulnerability, that means that you feel someone's pain in such a way that if they're happy, you take on their happiness. If they're sad, you take on their sadness. If they're in pain, you take on their pain. So you genuinely feel it and you actually immerse yourself deeply into their situation. Although, of course, I consider being empathic a positive trait, the unfortunate thing with being an emotionally vulnerable empath or someone who's empathic in an emotionally vulnerable way is that when someone's experiencing a negative emotion, unfortunately, because you end up feeling it too, you can't really help to solve it, because all that happens is that when your friend is sad, you end up being sad as well. So you can't help them fix it or solve it. And when your friend is happy, you end up being happy, which is a great thing. But when it's a negative emotion, then you both end up being stuck because you take on their negative emotion as well. If you scored highly in items 8 to 10, then you are considered someone who's empathically concerned. Out of the three, this happens to be the most balanced kind of empathic type, because you're the type of person who involves your head and your heart in the situation, which means that you see someone's distress. Yes, you feel their distress, but you don't feel it so intensely like the previous one that it cripples you. What you then end up doing is that you show your concern the way you need to, and then you end up wanting to help in the same process. This kind of empathic person is someone who's empathic, supportive, and the one who helps other people deal with difficult emotions. So out of the three, which one are you? Are you empathically concerned, which means you're the most balanced out of them? Are you empathically vulnerable or emotionally vulnerable? Or are you the one who is rationally empathic? Try and weigh and see, based on your scores, which one you are. Whether you know it or not, the type of empathic person you are sometimes even dictates what kind of job you do. Someone who's a nurse is someone who has to be the third type, because they can see someone's pain, they can feel someone's pain, but they don't feel it so much that it cripples them so they can't help their patient who's sick. They then try and find a way to ease that person's pain. So that's how it determines what kind of job you do. Because if you're the type who is emotionally vulnerable, you could never do a nurse's job, because everyone's sadness or pain or even death would affect you so much that you wouldn't be able to function. In the same breath, someone who is a therapist also needs to be someone who is empathically concerned, but not emotionally vulnerable and not rationally vulnerable either. Because when you come to me and tell me about things, I can feel your pain, I can see your pain, but I don't end up feeling and seeing it so much that I can't guide you towards positive solutions. So how you're wired a lot of times determines what you end up doing in the end, and whether you can do it well or not. So can you just become a therapist? Well, that's kind of predetermined in some ways because it's all about how you're empathically wired. All of these types of empathy have their strengths in different areas. And just because you are wired differently from someone else doesn't mean that theirs is better than yours or vice versa. It just simply means that it allows you to function in a different manner. And thank goodness for that, because our world would be so boring if we were all wired the same way. That is the beauty and the uniqueness of being human. We all have some level of empathy. The key thing is to understand the different ways in which we have our empathic abilities, and to also be able to realize what our strengths are and what our limitations are so that we don't overextend ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the person who can take the best care of you is you. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to be kind because you don't know what someone's going through. And kindness goes such a long, long way. Please send out positive vibes wherever you are because it costs you nothing. And to you, hugs and kindness always. Bye.